Okay, let's talk about episode 3. Now, I didn't even know it came out last night, so I woke up early and I saw it all blowing up on Twitter, and I was like, oh, okay, let's watch this. The only positive is that I'm starting the day with a good laugh, because that episode made me laugh uncontrollably. Holy hell, was that not the funniest and also the saddest thing you've ever seen out of Star Wars? I don't understand how anybody can defend this show. I don't. I really, really don't. They are absolutely breaking Obi-Wan down to be just like Luke Skywalker was in The Last Jedi. And I know a couple of you said that in the comments of my last video, which I appreciate every comment. But you are 100% right if you said that. That is exactly what they are doing. That is exactly what they've done. We literally have just watched Obi-Wan run away from Darth Vader. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it is. Because goddamn Disney can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves by taking a character that we all loved and appreciated for so long and driving them into the dirt and making the male character absolute garbage. Oh my God. The destruction of Obi-Wan Kenobi is almost complete. There's a lot to talk about, but this isn't going to be a very long episode or video because literally nothing happened in this episode. I mean, if you want to go break it down, they wind up on a planet that looks like the Grand Canyon, okay? Very creative. Of all the planets that we could have been on, of all the things you could have thought about, they wind up on a planet that looks very similar to Tatooine. Go look up pictures of the Grand Canyon. Looks just like it. So that's what I'm going to call it. Planet Grand Canyon. That's where they end up. Leia, again, bossing him around, telling Obi-Wan what to do. Obi-Wan's giving her direction, telling her, hey, you're going to be my daughter, you're not going to speak. And what does she do? She just starts talking and just takes control of the situation because Obi-Wan's a male. Shut up. You're going to listen to the empowered 10-year-old, and you're going to do what you're told, Obi-Wan. Whew, okay. So they're on this truck driven by, or hover truck, and they're driven, by Frick, the alien named Frick. That's very creative. Who sounds like a weird Seth Rogen. So the funniest part about this was they're on the truck, right? They're talking to the stormtroopers get on. You know, he gets her name mixed up or whatever. They get to that little outpost area, like a guard shack with the lasers. Oh, that was so hilarious. It's so bad. Everything's so... First off, after he, neutralizes the stormtroopers with his pistol, or laser, blaster, or whatever, because God forbid he uses lightsaber, and God forbid he use force powers. It's too dangerous to use your force powers now. Even though you're by yourself surrounded by enemy. Oh, you can't use them now. Fucking... So, instead of, just literally walking around these lasers, because... if you watched it, any human being could just literally scurry up the little side there and walk around it. Or we've seen Obi-Wan jump like 80 feet in the air. He could have just levitated Leia over and jump over. Nah. Now he's got to shoot it. The only cool thing about this episode, while we're on this part, the only cool thing that I liked about this episode was when the stormtrooper fell and he got cut in half by the lasers. That was cool. Didn't expect that. But everything else about this episode was complete garbage. So, they get past that little laser thing, and then the other stormtroopers show up, and what does Obi-Wan do? He surrenders, right? 3 stormtroopers are going to defeat Obi-Wan Kenobi. But of course, he quits. He puts his head down. And of course, the woman spy, saves the day and shoots them in the back and saves Obi-Wan. Okay. Before I continue on, Reva wasn't that bad in this episode. I didn't think she was I think she did pretty good, honestly. There really wasn't anything that she did that was, really cringy to me. She was pretty spot on. The Inquisitor's dead. The Grand Inquisitor is officially dead, unless they still somehow bring him back, but I don't see that happening, so they've already broken their own canon, which they don't care, so figures. The other Inquisitor with the hat, he was cringe. This episode, everything he said annoyed me. He was really bad. He was much worse than Reva in this episode. So, very cringe. All his dialogue was just really, really, really bad. We'll get to Vader in a minute. Anyway, so this spy leads them away, is going to save the day, right? Because that's what she's going to do, because Obi-Wan is a broken man. He can't use his Force powers. He's gone. We did see him somewhat meditating and trying, but they're really pushing this PTSD thing bad. I mean, and I understand that does make somewhat sense, but they're treating him with PTSD like he's not functioning, like he can't function at all. And I've been around people with PTSD, especially from combat and whatnot. That's not every case. So I really wish they didn't do that. You know, it's okay. I think he should be suffering from, PTSD and the memories and the nightmares and stuff. But I know plenty of veterans that have it that would still be able to pick up a gun and defend themselves or their loved ones in a heartbeat and not have a problem with it. So I really don't like the fact that they've just broken him into a weak, pathetic fool. Like, this guy's a Jedi master who has been a Jedi for God knows how long, pretty much his whole life. And you're going to tell me for 10 years he's just completely, like, how does anyone justify this now, the fact that he is so weak and broken and with the Force, but yet he's going to train Luke? That makes no sense. And I said this in the last episode, this proves it. How the hell could he ever train Luke if he himself kind of forgot how to use the Force? That doesn't, but nothing needs to make sense anymore. It's Star Wars. Consume and shut up or you're a bigot. Or you don't have to be called a bigot. Anyone anymore is just like, oh, it's Star Wars. I have to eat it up. I have to enjoy it because it's got Star Wars on it. So anyway, this spy leads them away, leads them to safety. Then they find this like underground railroad system, kind of similar to that, where these Jedi are passing through to escape the Empire. Okay. Vader shows up on the planet. And that scene where Vader and Obi-Wan come face to face, finally. First off, Vader's walking down the street, and this is important, and I'll mention why. Vader's walking down the road, or the little town, just kind of force choking people and force dragging people and everything, which is fine, right? Didn't anyone else expect to hear the Imperial theme when you saw Vader? I did. I was a little surprised that we didn't hear that. I thought that would have been like a really good time to put that in and like get the member berries going and kind of get you pumped up. I don't know, maybe they don't have the rights to the music or something. Who knows? I don't know. But we don't hear that, so whatever. So we see him walking down the street, basically force choking random people and whatever. So Leia and this spy go running down the tunnel, and Obi-Wan goes to draw Vader away. And of course, they finally meet up. And Obi-Wan literally runs away. he fucking runs away. I laughed so hard at that. Oh my God, it was so bad, it was funny. He just runs away. How does anybody defend this? How does the line, how does anybody defend the line, I was but a learner, now I am the master? How does that now correlate? They've completely ruined that. They've made sure that was ruined now. Because, I mean, I know they're going to face again. I get that. I know they've already said that. And Obi-Wan's going to have his little redemption arc, and he's going to get his powers back. We're going to see that. But this should not have been where a complete disaster for Obi-Wan. Like, this is supposed to be peak. I hate that word, too. This is supposed to be Darth Vader in his prime. So Obi-Wan is now going to learn his Force powers back and kind of beat Vader in the second one? because they're supposed to, I think, meet 3 times? I don't know. This is such a disaster. It was so bad. It was so bad. So Obi-Wan runs away. Vader finally catches up to him. Vader pretty much beats his ass all over the place. The Force choke starts the fire, right? Kind of dragging him. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, James Earl Jones voicing Vader was a great surprise. I'm glad they did that. That was awesome to hear that voice. But I don't know. I love Anakin Skywalker. Like, and I love Vader. Like, I love that arc. And Star Wars, for the, not getting into this, the Disney trilogy ruined his arc, in my opinion. So seeing this now and what they're just kind of playing off member berries bothers me, but whatever. So anyway, what I found hilarious, that fire scene, not the one that he was drug into where Obi-Wan's being force choked, that was kind of cool, but the fact that this spy let Leia go by herself, great, that was awesome. Just let a little 10-year-old run by herself and go save Obi-Wan, because of course he needs saving by a woman. Anyway, and listen, just to clarify, even if a man saved Obi-Wan with a blaster, that's dumb. Obi-Wan shouldn't need saving. Obi-Wan should be able to hold his own from Darth Vader. Just saying. So anyway, she climbs up on this mountaintop. After Obi-Wan's been burned, Vader tells the stormtroopers, hey, bring him to me. And of course she saves the day. She kills the stormtrooper, shoots one of them, and then starts another fire. And then that droid goes down and picks up Obi-Wan and walks away. And Vader just stands there and watches. You just force-choked Obi-Wan from that distance. Why don't you just pick up the droid and rip him in half? Why don't you pick up Obi-Wan with the Force and pull him to you? None of this makes sense. What are you doing? It is almost, I'm embarrassed for them. And the fact that, I know everyone's saying you're being overly critical, you're analyzing this too much. No, I have a brain. I have a working, functioning brain that uses common sense. You just did A, now B comes along, it's the same scenario, and you don't do the same thing you just did. Why? Can somebody explain that to me? That makes absolutely zero sense. Why did they do that? They came up with no other reason to make this show longer. Because Obi-Wan had to get away, and they didn't know how to do it. Awful. Terrible writing. This is awful writing, and I know, awful directing, and of course I'm going to be called a bigot now, or a sexist, because the writer, or the director, at least I know, is Deborah Chow, I think's her name, but it's a female, so I'm not allowed to criticize females. It's just bad. It's so terrible. So we see Obi-Wan getting saved, and then at the end we see Reva going after Leia. So Leia is still going to be in the... Leia is going to be throughout this entire show. I thought he was going to be able to dump her off and get away. Nope, it's a babysitting show. Listen, everyone... There was a couple people that criticized me on episode 1, 2, said, it just started. There's only 6 episodes. We're at now episode 3. We have 3 left. The show's halfway over, and this is all that we've gotten. I didn't have expectations. I expected this show to be an utter dumpster fire. But I really did not expect them to drop the ball this bad. And it's funny. Like, I'm not even mad about it. It's funny now. I'm watching this just for pure humor. Just to see how bad this can be done at this point. And I really try not to be cynical. But what do you expect? Anyone, like I said, with a functioning brain can look at this and realize just how bad this show is. And look, I'm not being disrespectful to anybody who does like this. If you do like this, that's okay. I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, and I'm not trying to be. Everyone has their own opinions, and I encourage everyone to like what they want or whatever. And if you are enjoying this, good. I'm glad somebody is. I'm glad somebody is enjoying this. But personally, I cannot. This is just terrible. So I will, like I said, there were some good parts. The only 2 good parts that I really saw were the stormtrooper getting cut in half. That was really cool. And Vader pulling Obi-Wan in the fire with the Force choke. That was neat, but I don't think that should have been Vader. It should have been like I could have seen him doing that to the spy, like interrogating her where Obi-Wan is, the girl spy. That would have been a cool idea. Like, tell me where he is, and he's force choking her, drops her to the ground, starts the fire, and pulls her in. That would have been neat. And then Obi-Wan jumping out to save the day, right? Not because it's a female, anyone. Replace her with a male. But Obi-Wan then saying, you know, and then calling him Anakin or something, right? And then him turning around. That would have been cool. That is how you do. No, they can't do that because that shows that Obi-Wan is a fighter, right? She was telling Obi-Wan, well, you have to fight. She is telling Obi-Wan that you have to fight. She even called him over and said, oh, I go by Ben now. I thought you went by Ben to hide your identity. Now, apparently, it's because this is your new personality and your new persona, and you don't go by Obi-Wan anymore because you've dropped the ways of the Force. You've dropped the Jedi ways. That's what it seems like they're implying. If that is the case, and I said this in the last one, in my last video, and a lot of people criticized me, he told the other Jedi that came up to him, Tatooine, hey, it's done, we lost, it's over, go away. And now he keeps correcting people and saying, I'm not Obi-Wan, I'm Ben. Like, the cat's out of the bag. We know who you are. You're on the run. You're not hiding yourself anymore. He clearly has turned away from the Jedi. Clearly. There's no more, you can't convince me otherwise now. Because he corrected her while they're talking one-on-one. So, it makes no sense. It's like that he's completely lost all hope. He's lost his ways of the Jedi. Eventually, obviously, he's going to start maybe communicating with Qui-Gon or something, or meditating, and maybe, you know, he'll redeem himself, I guess, somehow, and become a little bit more hopeful. But man, I hope, who knows, they may not. Canon means nothing to them. So what came after this? Again, that comment, I was but a learner, now I'm the master. How does that even play into the future now? Because clearly, Vader is not learning anything. Obi-Wan is not in a position to be teaching Vader anything after this point. So they've completely, how does anybody watch this show and then go watch A New Hope and it makes sense? They've completely wrecked it. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. This was an absolute dumpster fire, hilarious. I made this video way too long, but it was funny. I got a good laugh today. So thank you, Disney and Lucasfilm, for the really good laugh, because seeing Obi-Wan run away was hilarious. Oh, man, that was hilarious. It's sad but funny at the same time. They're killing our childhood heroes. And, again, it's not really a shocker. But let me know what you think of Episode 3 of Obi-Wan. I always love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It is so helpful with the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. I would greatly appreciate it. And for everybody who is newly subbed and could still sub, I greatly appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys watching my videos. So until next time, guys, take care.